Homeschool. I'm loving it as a homeschool dad. I'm just sitting here outside of this Christian school in my town that I live near, and waiting on my sons to come out of extracurricular classes they're in. And I started thinking about, wow, all the things that goes into running a homeschool family, and what people might think about it, and kind of wanted to share with everyone and get some comments and feedback on like some of the things that your experiences have taught you about the process for homeschooling. But what we're doing now is, of course we homeschool, as I said before, but we don't do it all, right? So you want to give your children in a homeschool as many things that you can, and sometimes you can't do everything, right? So you've got your curriculums that you do, you're teaching, you're writing, you're teaching history, you're teaching math, and you're teaching science, and all the things that you're teaching. And then there comes a time in the homeschool world where there may be a child that gets more advanced in like where you finish your education or where you can keep up. And so you then kind of outsource to certain higher level classes. Like, some people can teach calculus in their own homeschool because they were a math major. But, a lot of us, we may have taken calculus, but we might not remember it well enough to teach it again. And so you might want to outsource calculus classes or higher level math. You might want to outsource chemistry or something like that. Like what we do, speech and debate. We can teach that, but you just want to plug and play in areas where you want to basically connect to other people's expertise, and just to give your children the best education that you can. And that's part of the purpose of homeschooling. It's really just tailoring your children's education and making sure that they are learning and they are able to produce, instead of sending them off to a school and not being as involved as you can. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here waiting on my sons to come out, thinking about it. And then from a biblical perspective, which is why we homeschool, we want to introduce our children to the Bible, and we want them to know about God and have a firm foundation there. But I was thinking about a scripture in Matthew when it talks about storing up treasure. And in the scripture it says, wherever your heart is, there will your treasure be also. And so I was thinking about the cost of homeschooling and what it means to do that, and realize that, yes, that is absolutely true when it comes to homeschool. You invest in your children, and in some cases that means that you can't have the fanciest clothes or shoes or the biggest house, and some can, but it does mean that you also will give up some part of that, because the homeschooler with the really big house could have an even bigger house, or the homeschooler with a really nice car could have a nicer car, because you do have to take that into account. Homeschool families are often single income families, and it is worth the sacrifice every bit. And there are curriculums, there's a community, and there are communities to choose from and be a part of, and people who are all working together to help each other and look out for this next generation to make them better than the ones that we have, our generation. But anyway, I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts. What has been your homeschool experience? How do you feel about the sacrifice that you make financially? And how much are you involved in the day-to-day homeschooling of your kids?